Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Maza Bitcoin. Today the Bitcoin price, it's over 9.3, it's about 9,400. And as people know, I never write anything down to make this video. I see myself in the camera there. God, doesn't aging suck? What is this aging fucking bullshit? I'm riding a bike. I'm doing all the steps, but look. I'm aging. Okay. Yeah, fuck it. It's the way it is. So now that we're all aging, oh, I'm sorry. Now that we're, we all know where this is headed, this life, right? I want to talk about Bitcoin and how it's going to make the future better, as I commonly do. There's a few points, there's some things that I honestly can't believe. I find it hard to believe that people at this point in the game, they don't see, so many people don't see the vast potential. They don't see what's going on right in front of their faces. 5G's coming. 5G's coming where everything's connected. So we're going to have this hyper-fast communicative world where everything's happening in real time. We'll need all these cryptocurrencies for frictionless transactions in what we do and even what we say. And like, for instance, I play music. For me, sharing music with those around the world who like that particular music, doesn't matter if it's a lot or a few. It's obvious where this is going. And so what I want to say, when I got into Bitcoin, I was already into economics for a long time. So when I realized how protected the base protocol is of Bitcoin, because I watched and read particular people, and one video was a guy who was the head developer for Ripple, XRP, Ripple, the rat coin, which I would never buy. But he works for the Fed, basically. His name's David Schwartz. And he was explaining in layman's terms why Bitcoin can't be hacked. And this was vital information to me, because I didn't see it that way. I didn't understand. I had heard about Bitcoin in about 2010, 2011, and I just disregarded it like, oh, it's going to get hacked. That was my first reaction. Just computer money, of course, it's going to get hacked. Heard about it again. What astonished me is once Mt. Gox, the only exchange that Bitcoin had at the time in Japan, once that was hacked, the price shot up still some days afterwards, and that was a shocking event to me. And at that point, I attempted to buy some, couldn't do it. It was really difficult and very technical, and I'm not that technical a person. Actually, I have someone doing most of the micro tech involved in this, and I look over the macro. What I want to say about Bitcoin, it's literally just been improved and constantly improved as tech is. And because it has a finite amount, and it's the hardest money known to man. It's harder than gold. It's very difficult to obtain. And because of its finite supply, and because it was the first, there can be no other. In other words, when Bitcoin started, it was relatively valueless for the first year and a half. And so it wasn't attacked in the first year and a half. And it organically grew, and kids on their video game consoles mined it. This could never happen again, because everyone knows what cryptocurrency is, and Bitcoin was simply the first application to blockchain technology, which we already had. So what I'm trying to tell people in this video, just if you go back and look at my other videos, I just started this channel recently, just months ago, and what you see is me telling everyone to make plans, even if it's a small amount of Bitcoin every month. If you're buying just a little bit every month, $100, regardless of its price, you would have made a lot of money already in just some few months. I'm not trying to be a pompous dick. I'm just being honest, and I want to see people succeed here, and anyone who watches this channel is probably my friend or my family. Don't smoke. It's not healthy. Smoking makes you age faster than you otherwise would age. And so because Bitcoin is the hardest money known to man, gold previously was the hardest money known to man. And I make these videos and I make jokes and I have a good time and I ride a bicycle. But in all seriousness, you know, the fact is this is not going away. And as we progress into this 5G future, you know, which is coming, and you look around the world at every child, he's enveloped inside of an iPad. They all are. And Bitcoin is going to be the default standard of what we perceive as money. And what's happening with Bitcoin, as you've watched these videos, even in these last few months, and you'll continue to see over these years, is that it rises in value. It rises in value, which makes the owner of Bitcoin, everything else becomes more inexpensive. It becomes cheaper and cheaper. As the dollar weakens, and it's designed to weaken, no one denies that, Bitcoin is the opposite. It's deflationary, not inflationary. So it's by its deflationary nature and its difficulty to obtain, yeah, and its safety and security, I would say at this point in the game, if you're holding Bitcoin in a nano ledger, holding it offline, your money is far safer than in the USD. We are overdue for another economic calamity. I don't like to get too technical. I could get far more technical in these videos, and why and how this will all happen, and why Bitcoin, the holders of Bitcoin, will see that everything else in their Bitcoin terms will become less and less expensive for them to buy. Because Bitcoin's power, sorry, someone's making a smoothie here. I'm in a Vietnamese coffee shop. I just want to make a video quickly incentivizing people to really seriously consider buying hot chocolate, buying Bitcoin. Because I tell people, anyone I meet really, and people may think I do this because I like to hear myself talk. It's fun to make a video. It's fun to show people what I'm doing when I'm out on the road and riding a bike. And I spend a lot of hours studying the Bitcoin blockchain and different angles of Bitcoin and things people say about Bitcoin. It's so scarce, guys. Bitcoin is so scarce. And you would ask yourself, well, if it's so scarce and it's going to become the default standard of what we perceive as value, where everything else will be judged by it, including the American dollar. If it's so scarce, why is it only $9,000? Now remember, I talked about this just a few months ago, and I said the same thing, and I said, well, why is it only $7,000 or $6,900? It was just maybe a month and a half ago. But now I'm saying $9,000, right? It's $9,400. And I believe Bitcoin is on the verge of what's called a super cycle because of the halvening in May. Don't be surprised if Bitcoin shoots up to 14,000 and then surpasses the all-time high and goes forth later on this year. So you could be looking at a 40,000, 50,000, 60,000 Bitcoin price towards the end of the year. It's not unlikely whatsoever. And the risk now that we all know this, please Google it. Bitcoin has been the greatest investment in human history. And it goes up and it dies, right? They call it die. It doesn't die. It goes up and it goes down. This is truly what it looks like when an upstart technology slowly takes over the world's fundamental or benchmark storage of value by which everything else is judged. That's what's going on here in no uncertain terms. And when I research Bitcoin, I'm constantly looking for its flaws, for its faults, and I can get into some of the things that are 10, 20 years down the road where you say, well, this needs to be worked out. Things are being worked out constantly. Separate layers on top of the initial Bitcoin layer code, on top of the code, are being built like Lightning Network and Taproot, Rootstock, and various technologies. Some of the greatest technicians and developers work on Bitcoin every day to help the world, because this thing is so necessary, and our current monetary system, this pyramid in which enslaves us intentionally, it's intentional. The enslavement, you're running around like a mouse on a wheel, because as you're making money every month, your money is slowly weakening by design. They admit this, no one denies it, every year. Sometimes 3%, sometimes 7%, sometimes more. So why not have at least some of your money, what you consider money, into something that's deflationary and not inflationary? So the odds are, when you're working hard every month, that actually that thing where you store your value will go up and not down. I would say that it's safer at this point holding Bitcoin offline in a nano ledger. You buy it in an exchange. You buy it in an exchange and you download your private keys in a nano ledger. That is far safer than holding it in Wells Fargo and Bank of America. Why? Because of an economic downturn, which we're overdue. We're overdue for. And there's something called the Cantillon effect. And the Cantillon effect is those who are nearest the money printers. We're talking about Washington, D.C. and London and places around the world where they actually print the money, okay? Those areas are the wealthiest areas in the world. So the people nearest that have connections to the people who print the money and get it at 0% interest rates, they are our owners. You don't want to have an owner, you want freedom. You want a better future, right? So do I. We don't need owners. We don't need people telling us. Now, to understand that any person of any wealth, and the people who watch the show are predominantly from wealthy countries, you could work, store your money in Bitcoin, fly into any country with as much money as you want. You could store your keys here in your head if you want, and get a used Samsung phone and have access to all of your money, 100% of it, in any country where the cost of living, like this country here in Vietnam, is so low. This is a game changer. And I make these videos simply if you think it's ridiculous, right? If you think I make these videos and it's ridiculous, well, check back a few months ago to my videos a few months ago and look back at my writings some years back. In the Future Report, look at my writings where I'm talking about, hey, it's Bitcoin's, 1,700. It's a great buy time. Bitcoin's $1,200. Well, today I'm making a video today, just some years later, and it's $9,400, guys. And I'm trying to light a fire on people's asses to understand, how can you not see this, okay? And I'm not trying to be a dick. It's just I did study economics for a long time before Bitcoin happened. And so it was an easier transformation for me to come to a conclusion that, hey, I better sell my gold. When I sold all my gold, turned it into Taiwanese money, which then turned it into US dollar, then turned it into Bitcoin. Bitcoin was under the gold spot price. Bitcoin was well under $1,200. Bitcoin at the time was like high nines. And then of course, gradually over time, not many months actually, it went well over the spot price of gold. This continues to happen. Don't let the pullbacks scare you. Don't let the pullbacks affect you. It'll come back and surpass that pullback price. Many people think, hey, I'm too late on the boat. Bitcoin's already gone up. I've missed the boat. And if I buy Bitcoin, this will just make guys like this guy on this video wealthy. Wrong. Bitcoin is an absolute infant. It's an absolute baby right now. Why it's an absolute baby is simplistic when you're understanding the world's economics and why all humans put our deepest faith in the hardest money to obtain with a finite amount. That's Bitcoin. So please, thank you for watching the video if you watched it this far. Usually my phone shuts off because I'm riding a bike and all my videos end abruptly, and that seems okay too. But I'm having a beautiful time. I'm in the middle of a 300 kilometer stretch now from Dalat to Cambodia. I'll make another video of the scenery and stuff. I just want to make a more serious video, really hopefully inspiring someone who's watching this, anyone who's watching this, to really consider taking a percentage of your money and putting in something that will go up in value and not down like the dollar. And even if it's $100 a month or $50 a month, you dollar cost average every month, regardless of the Bitcoin price, it will really, really pay off in the future. And it'll pay off to a stunning degree. All right, that's all I want to say. Thanks for watching. I hope everybody's well. Wolfman Bruiser will come to the next video. Bye, toot toot.